Hey all, here OS Reviews. You're watching our hands-on review of the Velocifire K61WS. This is a wireless mechanical keyboard that is 60% the size of a full-sized version, so it's going to be very compact and easy to take with you when you are on the go. This version also uses brown switches, which makes it very quiet compared to the regular blue switches, for instance, so it produces a lot less sound, so if there are other people around you, it shouldn't bother them quite as much. The most impressive thing about these is going to be the price. For a wireless mechanical keyboard, it only sells for under $40, sometimes as low as $35, which makes it actually one of the least expensive mechanical keyboards, period. Not to mention the fact that it has brown switches and it's wireless, which are typically more premium features you won't find on this kind of device. So here is the keyboard. Other contents of the box include the user manual, providing some additional info about the working distance, 10 meters. There's a 1000 milliamp hour capacity battery, which will last you for a month or two of continuous use before you need to recharge it again. It does also work when plugged into power directly, so that's nice, and there's also additional function keys provided. We have a micro USB cable, which again can be used to plug directly into a computer if you don't want to use it in the wireless mode, and there's also additional keycaps that are accented in red if you want to emphasize particular keys like the arrow ones. So as a demonstration of that, I have a keycap remover that also comes in the box. I'm going to slide it down on one key and then pull up to remove the cap evenly. From here I can then apply one of these red accented caps, and in this process we can tell that indeed we are using brown switches, which again are very quiet. We also have the Nano Receiver, which is very small. Just plug it into any computer. No additional drivers are needed. It's simply plug and play, and there's even a little slot on the back of the unit where it fits in magnetically. It prevents you from losing the Nano Receiver when you are on the go, so it's a pretty clever design. The back also features rubber feet that prevents the keyboard from sliding around on a surface. There's the logo and a dedicated power switch just to conserve on battery. On the side here, there's also two ways of charging / using it as a wired keyboard. So there's either the left or the right, both using micro USB. So depending on your desk setup, you can manage your cables more efficiently. So really, there's a lot of attention to detail here. One thing that you won't find, interestingly enough, are stands or feet that allows it to be popped up at an angle, and that's because you can see the base here naturally has an incline that already gives you a pretty ergonomic shape. Now, two areas where Velocifire were able to cut costs on this particular model, making it so cheap, is that A, it's not backlit, so you don't have any of the RGB LEDs that you can use to customize and create fancy animations with. Second of all, it does not have a metal or aluminum chassis, so it's made entirely out of plastic, which is fine. It still feels quite good when you're typing on it, but the construction of the base isn't quite as strong as on some more premium options. Alright, so next let's do a quick typing test and sound test. And we can see that there's very little latency as well, so all the actions that you're performing on the keyboard basically pop up instantaneously onto the display, so there's no lag even though the entire process is wireless. So if we do a quick comparison of this keyboard with some other popular competitors, first of all we have a Mechanical Eagle keyboard that also uses brown switches, the Z88 Compact that we also reviewed very recently. We can see that the Mechanical Eagle is considerably larger, and that's because on the Velocifire we have a double row that's used both for numbers and for functions, whereas on these we have two separate rows. And also there's an additional row for controlling delete, home, and page up, page down, which on these you probably have to hit on function keys just to replicate those features. And as a refresher, here's what a blue switch keyboard sounds like, and here's the brown switches. Of course, we have all the benefits of a mechanical keyboard present, including faster typing rates than on a regular chiclet, island, or membrane keyboard, just because you don't have to apply quite as much force. The mechanical nature of the switches means you only have to apply something very light, and basically the switch will do the work for you. It presses down all the way, even if you tap very lightly, and as a result you can exert less force on each stroke, enabling you to type faster, theoretically. Second of all, it's also going to last a lot longer than on a regular membrane keyboard, which is much more difficult to replace or fix. So again, if you are a typist, if you constantly work in an academic environment, or if you're a programmer, then a mechanical keyboard really is something that you should look into. So that's been our review of the Velocifire wireless mini mechanical keyboard. I think this is actually a pretty interesting and attractive product, mainly because the price is so inexpensive. You can find it again for around $35, $100, which I think is a steal for any mechanical keyboard, let alone one that works really well as a wireless option too. The keys themselves, from my testing, are comfortable to type on. I got a pretty good accuracy and a typing rate as I used it just for a few minutes, and I found the overall angling also to be fairly ergonomic. There's also quite a lot of attention to details, and the fact that you can change some of the keycaps right out of the box is also a pretty cool touch. Potential downsides would include the fact that it does eliminate a lot of the other controls and special function keys, which could be useful to some, but otherwise it gets all the basics right at a really low price. So you can check out more details about this in the links down below, but for now this has been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. This has been the Velocifire 60% wireless mechanical keyboard.